All right, welcome back. This time, we are going to take a look at methods. Last time, we took a look at Ruby data types. Now, a quick little refresher. Data types are things like strings, which are any series of characters, literal characters like this, that are interpreted just like an English sentence. Integers, which are whole numbers like so. Floats, which are numbers that contain decimal points. And Booleans, which we're actually going to take a look at a little bit more in a future lesson. But today, I want to talk to you about probably the most fun part of programming. And in Ruby, we call these things methods. So I'm going to make a new directory, mkdir, a directory called Ruby_methods. Then I'm going to cd into Ruby methods. And I'm going to touch a new file called intro_2_methods.rb. And I'm going to open that file inside my Ruby methods directory like so. Let me make that a little bit bigger, and I'm actually going to close my file tree for the time being, just so you can see it really quickly. There we go. Now, last time when we took a look at strings, things like hey there, and this is a string, and hello world, we also messed around with a few different methods. So something like .reverse will take a string and it will reverse it. And if we wanted to see the output here, I could say puts hey there .reverse, and let's take a look at what that does when I run this file by typing ruby intro to methods.rb. I get hey there backwards. Because reverse, a method, is like an action. It accomplishes something. It takes an input, which is hey there, and provides an output, which is reverse hey there, or eretia, however you want to look at it. Now, there's a couple different kinds of methods that come pre-packaged with Ruby. Reverse is one of them, .swapcase, .capitalize, .gsub, where you can sub out different characters like E, for, let's go, the percentage sign, something like this. And this should work. Let's see what we get when we put this whole little shebang. We get something really funky. Now notice how it didn't sub out the capital E with the percentage sign, because gsub is case specific. Now, each of these prepackaged methods, something like reverse, .swapcase, .capitalize, .gsub, are known as string methods. So they operate on strings. We also saw methods like 1.toS, which will turn the number 1 into a string. So this is a method that turns one data type into another. And if I were to run this, I have 1 being turned into 1, and I can prove that by saying plus 1, and it should give me out Juan. There we go. But this is really not the end of methods. This is actually just the beginning. All those prepackaged methods are nice, but in today's lesson, we're going to talk about how to create your own methods. Now, methods, like I said, methods are like actions. Methods map an input to an output. Any input to any output, really, at the end of the day. And sometimes, even when you think there's not an output, there still is. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that later. You can sort of think of methods as an action or series of instructions. Basically, methods are telling the computer exactly what to do, which is why we need to be really specific when we define and create methods. Now again, a method is like a series of instructions, so a really good example would be something like going grocery shopping. If I have a grocery list, I know exactly what to buy. That is my set of instructions that I need to follow if I want to get all of my groceries. So if I wanted to make a method to go shopping, or we call it get groceries, you create a method by using the def keyword, which stands for define. And in this case, we're defining our method name, which is get groceries, and then we end each method, like so. Now, the cool thing about methods is that you don't have to just write in instructions in there. You can actually give Ruby or each of your methods some information to manipulate or use inside the method. And this is called an argument. And you create an argument by putting the opening and closing curly brackets right after the name of your method. And inside there, you create a variable, like let's say location. And we can now reuse this variable inside our method. Now, I haven't written anything yet, so let me give you an example of what I mean. For me, if I want to get groceries, I'm kind of, I have some very interesting tastes in food. So let's go with puts by fried chicken, my favorite food. And then let's get some mashed potatoes. Also, I'm a big fan of buy asparagus. Let me make sure I capitalize this correctly. I don't know why I capitalized potatoes. Let's say buy asparagus. Asparagus. I need to say it like that so I remember exactly how to spell it. I don't even know if that's correct or not. Let's go for some other goodies. Oh, let's get some biscuits. And let's wrap it up with some fruit. Let's get some strawberries. Love strawberries. This right here would be one of my favorite meals, probably. And then just to top it off with some dessert, I'm a big fan of vanilla malts. 1 vanilla malt. Or just let's buy some vanilla. I don't know. Vanilla? Is that how you spell vanilla? Ah, man, spelling. Vanilla puts by malt, sugar, and puts by ice cream. I don't even know if that's how you make malts, but you get the picture. So right here, I have my nice little defined get groceries method, but I'm not really reusing my argument here. So first, let's say puts go to, and then let's interpolate the location directly into my string. And if I save this, and if I were to run my file, you'll notice something. Nothing happens. This is actually expected because in Ruby, when you define a method, it doesn't mean you actually make it work. Now, the cool thing about methods is that you can run them as many times as you want. So for instance, if I want to make this method take me to go shopping or get groceries, all I need to do is say the actual name of the method. So right here, I am defining the method with 1 argument of location. And then down here, I want to call my method. And you call methods by typing in the name of your method. Get groceries. And then make sure you include the location that you want to go to. So let me just say, let's go to Ralph's or Costco. Costco's my spot. There we go. And let's run it again and see what happens. Now I have all of my instructions printed out to my screen. Uh-oh, I used a $ instead of a hashtag right there. Excuse me. That's how you interpolate correctly. Let's save it and let's run it again. There we go. Go to Costco, buy fried chicken, mashed potatoes, asparagus, biscuits, strawberries, vanilla, malt, sugar, and ice cream. Now, what's really cool about this is say Costco is closed and I have to go to Sam's Club. I can just use the same method, Sam's Club, and I should have it printed out twice with 2 different, very slightly varied set of instructions. Here, I'm going to Costco to get all this stuff, and then here, I'm going to Sam's Club. So the cool thing about methods is that you can reuse them as many times as you want using the same argument, different arguments, but it's a series of instructions that I want the computer to follow. And in this case, we're just putting a couple different instructions to the screen or to our terminal. And at the end of the day, that is really all you need to know about how to get methods working from the beginning. You define them with the def keyword, then you type in the name of your method, then you put parentheses, open and closing, and inside there, the name of a variable, which we call an argument. An argument is a variable. Here, let me write that right here. An argument is a variable that can only, that is used, let's look at what that is used inside a method. And this is an interesting point. What if below this I try to say puts location? Will it work? I've created this variable location and I've reused it inside my method, but if I were to run this file now, I would get an error. Undefined local variable or method location. So it sees location and it says, I don't know what location is. The Ruby interpreter does not realize that location is a variable that can be called or puts to my terminal because it's only defined inside the method. So every argument can only be reused inside the method. That actually makes our lives a lot easier later on, but it is something to be aware of. Now let's try another thing here. What if I don't give it, my method, a place to go? What if I just say get groceries? Will it work? And in fact, we can just leave off the parentheses if we don't have an argument. Let's call that again, and let's get rid of this puts location and just see what happens. I'm going to save this file, and I'm going to run it. We have a new kind of error. Wrong number of arguments. And see, this is the great thing about errors, is that they tell us exactly what's wrong. We gave our method 0 arguments because I didn't put anything in there, and it expected 1 argument. So if I look up here, that makes sense. It expected 1 location argument, and I didn't give it. So it tries to run this, it says go to location, but it doesn't have a location. So it doesn't know what to do, and it throws an error for us. It says, hey, by the way, I need the correct number of arguments, otherwise I'm not running, which is very nice of it. So this is like a little intro to methods, and this is how we would use methods. And by the way, if you want to create just a generic go shopping method and not give it any arguments, that's totally fine too. And just puts go get fried chicken. And then I could actually just copy this whole thing without the location, and then I don't need to include an argument when I call it. So if I just type in go shopping, let's see what happens. And I run this method, and we actually, like I said, can leave those off. It should, beautiful, puts our shopping list to the screen, to our terminal. And there we go. That is a little bit of beginning of methods, but again, that's only scratching the surface of what we can do. This is a super simple version of a method with an argument and a method without an argument, a series of instructions that we tell our computer to run. So in the next video, I'll show you about why we might want to use this and reuse methods over the course of our program. But this video is getting a little long, so I'm going to end it here, and I'll see you in the next video.